This meeting of the Transportation Committee is ready to begin, 4:03 p.m. on Wednesday, June 11th. This time I will take roll call. To my left,
Here.
Alderwoman Pindell Charles, and to my right,
Present.
Alderman Savage is present, and I am present. We are all here. At this time, I'll take approval or a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Next, I will entertain a motion for approval of minutes from 5/7/25.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next up on our agenda, we have one appointment and 4 reappointments for Transportation Board. Do we have anyone here? No. Okay. Do we want to talk about them? Are there questions?
Oh, I guess I'd like to move to postpone action on AP 325.
Okay.
Until the next meeting. See if we can get them in attendance.
Yeah. So. Okay. Kirk, that is Kathleen Reedy, who is applying for the Ward 2. Does that mean not looking for reappointment, or will Kathleen come in as a alternate at large? Oh. Closer. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kurt Riegel from the Transportation Board. I haven't looked at these particular appointments, but the fact is that the rules allow appointment of members even if they are not resident of that ward, if there has been a longstanding vacancy in any ward. And so Hillary will have to figure out who to assign to that ward, and that person would sit until the regular vacancy occurs. And frankly, I can't remember whether my appointment is Ward 2 or at large.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thought it was my understanding that Mr. Schock did not want to be reappointed
Point of order.
in Ward 3.
We have a motion on AP 325.
Correct. Sorry. I'm going to back up. We have a motion to postpone action on AP 325. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. We're going to postpone AP 325, which is a appointment. If we go down, we have 4 reappointments, and Alderwoman Pindell Charles, it's your understanding that one of them was not interested in being reappointed?
I thought that was my understanding from one of the last, maybe the third meeting, maybe around March or something.
I think you may be right, and I just assumed that if Hillary had put that forward, she had communicated with him. I was not a party to that communication, so you would have to check with her.
Okay, that'll be fine. That was my understanding.
I agree with you.
Alderman Savage?
For the sake of time, could we just move these all as a block and we can work out who needs to be on or off by the next council meeting?
I just wanted to make sure that I had the information correct.
I understand. I'm just, the chair needs to leave by 5, so I'm trying to keep things moving.
Thank you.
Are you okay with it?
Are you making a motion to move AP 46, AP 47, AP 49, and AP 50 as a block for recommended approval?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So we are going to move those for us to the council. Thank you.
Where are we on the agenda?
Now it's general discussion with ID 2025 SP Plus Metropolis Parking Update.
Let's start first.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, O'Neill and Alderwoman Pendel Charles and Alderman Savage.
Good afternoon.
For the record, I'm Marcus Moore, Director of Transportation and Parking, and just want to give you some updates before SP Metropolis goes into their update on the information that was requested. But I'll be brief. What we've been meeting around the community, specifically last night, Superintendent Parker and I presented at the Eastport Civic Association on our on-demand service. Well received, a lot of questions, and I think we need to do more of that, and we will. We'll try to, get to more events like Senior Center's Morris Bloom again, the Visit Annapolis as weather starting to, warm up, a lot more visitors coming in. And one of the big avenues with the visitor center that's, selling or really providing information on our product about our city. So the more information they have about parking and parking options, as well as getting around our city, the better we actually can do. So Mr. Kinney, Senior Manager with Metropolis, SP, a division of Metropolis, is here to share some information with you. So in case you want to introduce you.
My name is Jason Kinney. I'm the Senior Manager for SP Plus Metropolis Annapolis Parking.
Make sure your mic is on.
Yeah.
Or pull it closer.
Is that better? I've been here for 7 years. And as you know, we have recently, in the last 7 months, converted our garages to a gateless license plate system that has been, I would say, extremely well received. Since we've started, we had some little growing pains at the beginning, but everything's ironed itself out. The residents seem to be very happy with it. As far as how easy it is to use, the residential 2-hour discount that works at all the facilities, no matter where you are, uptown. So we're gonna move on here. So you had asked us what, like how long people were using the garage, the length of stay. And you can see here, Scott's is in blue, Knighton's in green, Park Place is in yellow. Grace period stays are up compared to the prior period, a lot, quite a bit actually. And we have seen a decrease, and the grace period is 15 minutes, but we've seen a decrease of illegal parking around the locations for people, DoorDash drivers and people just running in to pick up their mobile order and so on. So it's good that now that people have registered that they're just, pulling in real fast, using the facilities instead of parking on a red curb or in a posted no parking area. And we've seen, those of you that are familiar with the problems on Colonial Avenue, we have seen a real sharp decrease in people parking on Colonial Avenue, other than a quick pull up, somebody jumps out of the car and they drive off. So that's good. And then this covers a little more than the first quarter of the year. And you can see that legislation has really pushed the longer 8+ hour stays there. And then, of course, Park Place always has the most long stays because of the hotel, 3-4 days. And you also asked us for validations. As far as use goes, that has proven to be a little more difficult weeding those out as far as the information goes, but this is how many have been issued. So we have three bed and breakfasts in town who have requested their 50% bed and breakfast validation for their guests. 41 businesses have gotten the either $5 validation for GOTS or the $3 validation for Knighton and Park Place for their employees. We have 68 businesses who have some form of the Park Shop and Dine. As you know, you can use, it can be used up to 4 times. So you can get up to 4 hours off in a facility. And that 68 is a mixture of 1 to 4 hours. And that also is purchased by the business. It's 55 cents per hour for the business to purchase validations. Business and organization comps are like non-restaurants. So like more Park Place, your realtors, Merrill Lynch, your wealth management companies that are there, who do have people come just for business and do comp some or all of their parking. And then we have issued 602 residential 2-hour citations. And that number will just continue to grow.
1 second. That's citations or passive?
That's validation.
Validation.
That's the 2-hour resident. Yeah, 2 hours free parking in a facility per day.
That seems low.
102 people per day utilize.
No, we have issued. So we have had 602 households, residents come in to get their 2-hour validation.
Oh,
If you remember the old days as a resident, you had to come see us and get those yellow coupons. Well, now we have 602 residents who have come to get their new QR code.
It doesn't seem very high for 40,000.
It'll grow.
Yeah.
It'll grow.
Good.
And we have a lot of residents who never use it at all. So it's only been really pushing since the first of the year. So it's 5 months, five months and a bit. It's a good number.
Okay.
And it'll grow as these people use it, see how easy it is, tell their neighbors, and people will start. It'll go up.
Great.
And then for the first quarter, January through March, and this was sent to me on April, all of the facilities combined were at a mystery shop score of 98.1%. And I brought a sample if you'd like to see what they look for in the mystery shop. And that's all I've got.
Perfect. That's exactly what I asked. Thank you. Alderman Savage.
thank you, Madam Chair. And so I don't expect answers to all these because we do have limited time, but if you could get back to me with some of these, no rush, but just perhaps for your next presentation or the next meeting. So I'm just going to list them out. First question would be, how many failures to pay do you have per garage? So I'm just curious how many people end up not utilizing the app that you have to do enforcement on. Second question would be, I'd like to see how often the garages are at capacity. Like what time of day, what days of the week. Third thing would be, you need me to slow down?
All good.
Okay. Third one would be, I'd like to see how many of those, it looks like there are quite a bit of people staying for 1 to 2 hours or 1 to 3. I'm curious how many of those utilize the residential discount voucher. Because I'd like to kind of eventually figure out how much revenue we're giving up as a part of that. Because I'm not quite sure how if there's an associated waterfall with your contract, but I'm assuming a portion of that revenue comes back to the city.
It all goes
All-
back to the city.
Oh, because you've got your set contract and all.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so my point would be with that, again, how much revenue do we actually lose by having the voucher program? And related to that, my last question would be, well, not question, just a statement, I guess. As we build out improve some of our transit, right? And this is one reason why I was kind of,
If I could
Oh,
just
yes.
clarify,
Yeah.
do you just strictly want to know with the 2-hour residential, or do you want to know how much? Well, no, just 2-hour residential, right? Because they pay for the businesses pay for their park, shop, and dines. The employee parking is also
okay.
free to employers, but the employees do pay either $5 or $3. So just the 2-hour residents, how many hours you're giving up, equaling how much
Yeah.
revenue you're losing. Okay.
And just, again, the big picture I'm thinking is just as we develop out some of the transit, and this is one reason why I've been kind of pushing to think about reorienting some of our transit on downtown instead of just taking people to employment centers, is, allowing people to have 2 hours free incentivizes them to drive downtown, where once we, I think, make some of the improvements that the directors laid out and some of the other ideas, as we improve the transit, hopefully we'll get more people to use it and actually incentivize them to use transit. And that goes back to making transit free. Why are we allowing it to be free to come drive downtown and contribute to all the chaos, air pollution, et cetera, when we should be encouraging people to use our buses and our free circulator, right? Just something to stick in our minds as we move forward with trying to coordinate the two efforts between parking and transportation. That's all I have. Thank you.
Exactly. Questions? Alderman Neal? No question. Right. Thank you so much for that report. And we will look forward to maybe next month a couple of those questions answered. Appreciate that.
If the chair so desires, what we can do, be ready for the next one, which is July 9th, I believe. And we can ask those same questions and have the same type of presentation from premium parking. And then we'll follow up. They'll have the benefit of having Alderman Savage's questions to be ready to answer those at the same time when SP delivers as well.
Great. Thank you. Do you have any further updates from Transportation Department while you're at the table?
That's basically all that we have. What we're really trying to look at is how we better advertise our service to be used. We got the smaller cutaway buses that we may have talked about a little earlier. They're only 8 passenger size vehicles, and it's a perfect application for our ADA and our on-demand service. We did get those in just a matter of weeks ago, and they're being outfitted with the stuff that we need, like radios and all that kind of stuff there. But how do we really continue to grow that on-demand service that we're not just riding around because it's on a schedule, but we're moving around because we're needed? And that's that delicate mix. So one of the things that Superintendent Parker was looking at for our measurement, what makes us on time, is if you hit the enter button and got your trip secured, that we're able to get you within 20 minutes of that trip time. And a lot of times we're able to get it between that 10 and 15, but sometimes with Blue Angels or the practice or whatever, it's taking quite a bit longer. But that's our goal, to really serve as best we can. So sometimes when we have just the purple out there, which is the evening, because remember this service replaced the orange and the purple, to cover the whole city. So we're looking at where we used to operate on Housley Road all the way to Edgewood, from the western part of the city to the far eastern Annapolis Neck. We need 4 buses to build that supply. So when we look at a headway, what's convenient was 30 minutes. When you get above 30-minute wait, headway would be how long it takes to get from one end, let's say the mall, to the turnaround point in Eastport. So if this on-demand is able to do it in 15 to 20 minutes, that's very successful. And some of the things that we heard last night with ECA, we'd use it more if it was more available. And to make it more available means more, buses out there and expanding the route. But some of the things that we've done that we have our amendments, and hopefully we can look at those studies and what that really says and what we really need to do to support this fixed route, which would be the on-demand, microtransit kind of supporting as a feeder system into it. So that's what we're really looking to do. As Alderman Savage says, how do we make those little tweaks, with our studies, with our TDP, and what the county's doing, the transportation planners providing some information of what we want to do as a collective event. So that's where we are right now, and hope to continue to keep those conversations going and really getting the word out to let people know. Because some people said, I've never heard about the on-demand in certain pockets of our city, and some of those that have a two-car household, and they would really like to get out and use public transportation when it's gridlocked to other places. And that's what we want. People that have an option to use this as that option, first option. Convenient, safe, reliable.
Thank you. I am wondering as an idea, I'm wondering if the places where we have identified as pickup locations for the micromobility, would it be possible to put a sign there with a QR code for Annapolis Go?
When we first started out, as you know, we started our pilot on July 15th of last year. So prior to that, in almost a month and a half or more, we were hitting the routes and sharing that information with riders on the purple, riders on the orange, and we have that are still up there. We probably need to take another look. In some of our shelters that have the larger version of that card that has the QR and all. But there's some things that you're right that we gotta. Okay, we did that as a splash, as a start out, as a marketing effort. What do we need to go back and do again? Revisit, because some people weren't there that could have benefited from it. It's not a one and done. So you're absolutely right. And that's something we'll take a strong, hard look how we can better advertise and make it easy and convenient.
Right. I'll give an anecdote. Last Sunday, I think it was Sunday, maybe it was Saturday, I was walking through my neighborhood, and I know that there's a stop at the corner of Cedar Park and Bristol where the city pump house is. And there was a resident who was sitting on the curb on that. And I walked by and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm waiting for go time." She said, "It said to somewhere around here. I don't exactly know where to wait." And I was like, "Well, you're in the right spot." She was probably on the opposite curb of where she would be picked up. But I said, "You're in the right location." But it just got me thinking, like, maybe if there were signs, at least short term, so that people started to get to know where some of the stops were with the QR code that actually said, it will be 20 minutes from the time that you call from here, but it would get them thinking about that spot.
No, you're absolutely right, because as we spread and we started going more into West Annapolis, where basically the only service that we had over there was the state shuttle. And as close as we traversed that area would have been Rowell Boulevard. Now we're going across Rowell Boulevard to places that don't have a bus stop. So where in this area of Annapolis Street do I need to go?
Yeah.
So looking at things like that, you're absolutely right. We'll take a strong look and get things there that we can put up. Very good point. So people know where they're supposed to meet their ride.
I'm hesitating because I'm like, well, do we want a bunch of extra new signs in neighborhoods that people aren't going to pay attention to? But at the same time, maybe it was something that was somewhat temporary. Like
Yeah, if we can do something temporary that's clever, that's not as big as a stop sign or a normal bus stop sign, but it's like, look for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can see with our sign shop and, even within our own shop as far as developing something that would be eye-catching. Almost like what we did with Magenta Shuttle. We color-coded it. It made it very easy to find, this Magenta bus stop with a QR code, where's my bus, to be able to do something like that. That wasn't too big of a sign at all. So that's a great idea we can explore.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have a question? Oh, no. Alderman Savage?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to know, have you received, or when do you think you'll receive those tweaks for the transit development plan?
Yeah, you and I caught up a couple days ago, and that was one of the things I forgot to send. We did get it last Thursday, and I can send that out to you tonight or tomorrow. We did get that all
Okay.
as promised by the transportation planners. I'll send that to the whole council.
Okay. Yeah, if you could send that tonight, because then we could talk about it if we need to at tomorrow's environmental matters meeting.
I definitely will.
But we'll definitely need that for Monday night,
Okay.
because we postponed the transit development plan approval until Monday.
I'll send that out this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next on our agenda is the Transportation Board update. Mr. Regal, welcome back to the podium.
My name's Kurt Regal, and I'm representing the Transportation Board. I thought I was being so sly in relinquishing my chair to another member of the board, but it turns out not to be very effective. Here I am again before you. Not much to say. I have one item that's very important, and you will be happy to hear it if you haven't already. But let me just begin by agreeing vociferously with a point that you made about incentives for driving offered by the city to our residents versus incentives to use public transport. And the point that you made about free parking for automobiles and no similar incentive for using transport is exactly the one that we put forward in one of the arguments from the Transportation Board for free transit. So thank you. Then the other item is just a news item. The bicycles on sidewalks legislation, which you passed for the city, was picked up then by the county and replicated in the county, carried to the state for incorporation into the state code, passed the House of Delegates 3 times, but failed to be considered by the Senate. So it failed for lack of consideration for 3 consecutive years. This year was the 4th try. It was passed for the 4th time by the House of Delegates, went to the Senate, and it was cross-filed because we found a member of the Senate who would pick it up. So it went to the Senate, it passed unanimously in both houses, and has been signed by the governor. So,
Yay.
and I'm very happy. This is something that Annapolis has done not only for itself, but for the state. And I thank you for your support.
Great. Thank you for keeping on that.
Thank you so much.
A comedy thing. We thought if we were going to run into any difficulty in the House, it might be on the Republican side of the aisle, but it turned out that one Republican member, was triggered into a childhood memory. He had been riding his bicycle on the sidewalk. A policeman came along, chastised him strongly, and confiscated his bicycle. So he had a burning memory in his brain that made him especially favorable to this legislation. So favorable that the law, as passed by the legislature, is now called Jay's Law. His name is Jay.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Interesting.
Thank you so much for that update.
Great news.
All right. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything for the good of the order?
I feel like I should have asked more questions now.
Nothing else.
No? Then I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Wow.